the question tells us that Jones has worked at a firm X twice as many years as Green, and Green has worked for 4 years longer than Smith. We have to find the number of years that Green has worked. Now this is a fairly easy question, but a lot of you might make the mistake of not understanding what this statement means. So let's understand what this means. If I write X is twice as many as Y. Now this means that the value of X will be 2 times the value of Y. So whenever we say twice as many, it will be 2 times the value of the other. Now if we denote the number of years that Jones has worked as J, the number of years that Green has worked as G, and the number of years that Smith has worked as S, then from the question we can form an equation that Jones has worked twice as many years as G. So this is the first equation that we deduced. Now we can also get another equation by using the other statement that Green has worked at firm X for 4 years longer than Smith. So the number of years that Green has worked is 4 more than Smith. So this is the second equation that we have. We now move on to step 2. In step 2, we first analyze the statement. The statement 1 tells us that Jones has worked at firm X 9 years longer than Smith. Now this can be deduced into the form of an equation, and which is J will be equal to 9 plus S. Now plugging in the value of J in the 1, we can write 9 plus S is equal to 2G, or 2G minus S is equal to 9. And using the second equation, we have G minus S is equal to 4. Now we have two equations in two variables, and it is clear that we can get a value of G from these two equations. So we can say that the statement 1 is sufficient, and out of the options given to us, we eliminate options B, C and E. But for those of you who want to go ahead with the calculation, let's solve it. On subtracting these two equations, S gets cancelled and 2G minus G will give us G. 9 minus 4 gives us 5. So Green has worked for 9 years at firm X, and hence statement 1 is sufficient. We now check the sufficiency of statement 2. In statement 2, we are given that Green has worked at a firm X 5 years less than Jones. Now changing this into the form of an equation, we can write G will be equal to J minus 5. Again, if we plug the value of J from here, which will be J is equal to G plus 5 into equation 1, we have G plus 5 equal to 2G, and this gives us the value that G is equal to 5 years. Hence we can say that statement 2 is also sufficient. So the correct answer is option D.